Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics. And I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Top 50 Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine for 3 consecutive years, along with the United States Latino Affairs Initiative. And certainly I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, because my level of honesty, ladies and gentlemen, is truly necessary now more than ever in this era of blatant journalistic deception. And without a doubt, I'll continue to be the most handsome face that runs the place. That's right, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Hope you're all doing well. Special side note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everyone that attended Memories Matter 2024 to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey last week at the world-famous Lolitas located on River Road in North Bergen. We raised over $2,000 to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey, and certainly we did a great job to help raise awareness about Alzheimer's and dementia. I also want to thank my amazing hosts throughout the evening, of course, Vladimir Carrero, Emily Amato, Yanoli Guerrero, and Jacqueline Rodriguez. I have to tell you, we make an amazing team, and we look forward to working together in future philanthropic events in 2024. For more information, always check out www.alznj.org if you're looking to get involved with Alzheimer's New Jersey, and of course, for all the helpful resources they provide for families all across the Garden State. Hey, they're doing a great job to help raise awareness about Alzheimer's and dementia. So I'm thankful to them for their partnership, and of course, moving forward, doing more events to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. In the meantime, folks, there's always a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. And folks, I've talked about it repeatedly, not just on this program, but my other aspects of my media brand, of course, Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV, and of course, on appearances on other podcasts throughout the Garden State. And certainly, hey, listen, I've been more than happy to call out all the insufferable women in New Jersey media, in politics, and in activism. They include Jay Lassiter, certainly Maria Rodriguez-Gregg, that hysteric, of course, virtue signalers and insufferable feminists like Corin Frankfurt, as well as Anjali Malhotra, and of course, former state senator, the increpid one and the ancient one, Loretta Weinberg. So, of course, folks, all those insufferable women in media, in politics, and activism certainly give me a lot to talk about. But let's add one more to the list, and that's former state assemblywoman Sadaf Jaffer. Now, folks, let me just give you some context here about why Sadaf is so insufferable. And quite frankly, all you have to do is look at her social media. So over the weekend, she was able to look at, obviously, what's going on college campuses. And certainly across the river in New York, folks, we're seeing, let's be honest, jihadists and apologists and defenders of radical organizations like Hamas and everything else taking place on all of our college campuses. Again, Columbia University, the New School, Barnard, NYU. It's branching out to Rutgers now, folks, unfortunately, here in the Garden State, and as far out west as UCLA and USC. But of course, Megyn Kelly, former Fox News host, and of course a journalist in her own right, and the host of a very successful podcast, wrote over the weekend, "Cool, enjoy the Sharia." Now, as you can see there in the videos provided, obviously it was basically a prayer in the middle of the square there at Columbia University. And of course, Sadaf Jaffer, a Muslim woman, took exception to it. But what's interesting about her is this sort of disingenuous nature, very much like the other women I just mentioned, the sort of constant virtue signaling that they engage in. So Sadaf writes, "Were we supposed to consider Megyn Kelly a serious journalist at some point, question mark? She is hate and fear-mongering simply at the sight of Muslim prayer. There have been prayers from many different religions at the protests, which is not true. Contending with so much hate from so many sides is exhausting." No, Sadaf, what's exhausting is you and your blatant enabling of anti-Semitism and, quite frankly, the enabling of all these jihadists taking over college campuses. Because, folks, it went from being peaceful, right? Like we've all seen this before, right? We've all seen this script before, right? Going back to 2020. Well, basically, folks, what's happening on college campuses now, it's become the 2024 equivalent of BLM. The only difference is they're wearing headscarves. And that's what's going on our college campuses. Because now, at Columbia University, we're seeing students cause destruction of private property because Columbia University is a private university. What are we seeing? We're seeing students break windows, destroy property on college campuses, all in the name of Palestine, Gaza, and everything else that they feel is that they're being shortchanged about. Now, again, what's interesting, folks, you know, you don't have to take my word for it. You can watch the videos right there as they're playing. Okay? What higher education has become, ladies and gentlemen, okay, 4 years now, It's become a hotbed, and it's become a breeding ground for anti-Semitism. And let's be honest, faculty are enabling this too. They're basically encouraging students, okay, to hate this country, to sort of blindly follow and attempt to embrace Sharia law, which is kind of funny, folks, because again, if you look at Sharia law, right, which is kind of interesting here, right? Under Sharia, and again, I've read the Quran, so I know what I'm talking about here, but folks, under Sharia law, it doesn't allow you to dance with the opposite gender. So if you've been seeing all these demonstrations on college campuses all across this country, we've been seeing men and women, right, those two genders, right, that's all there is, right, sort of dancing and celebrating or dancing in the name of, you know, pro-Hamas demonstrators and anti-Semitic rhetoric. Again, folks, according to Sharia law, you're not supposed to be dancing with anyone of the opposite gender. And for that matter, music's illegal also under Sharia law. Oh, and by the way, under Sharia law, don't women need to be accompanied by a male relative when they go outside? Suddenly now all this, you know, we're going to start defining what a woman is, right? But folks, this is what faculty members and students, some who are paying well over $100,000 a year to go to some of these institutions, okay? And that's what they're learning there. It's become a breeding ground to hate the United States, to embrace radical Islam, and to hate the state of Israel, and to basically be a hotbed for spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric. That's something that Sadat Jaffer won't call out at all, right? And let me give you a perspective, too, about why this is so dangerous, folks, okay? As you can see there, obviously on the slideshow, you can see two photographs. One's in black and white, and the other one's in color. Well, the photo on the left is 1938, folks. And the scene there is on the campus of Vienna University in Austria. And what do you see there? You see Nazis, Nazi soldiers, standing on the steps of Vienna University denying access to Jewish students. Let's fast forward to 2024, folks. The photo to the right are Nazis today wearing headscarves, standing on the steps of Columbia University, denying access to not just students, but in some cases, faculty members, as you can see with the videos there. Folks, same ideology, it's the same hatred. So for those of you that aren't students of history like I am, and you're probably asking why this is happening, well, here's a simple statement for you to sort of process and digest. If you ever wondered how the Holocaust ever could have happened, folks, well, guess what? You're living it here. You're living the same despicable, vile behavior that the Nazis engaged in 1938. And basically what you're seeing now with pro-Palestinian enablers, apologists, and jihadists overall is the same exact vile act. Folks, we lived through the BLM looting and rioting of cities in the summer of 2020 in the name of what? Of a career criminal? That's what George Floyd was. Don't take my word for it. Google the rap sheet. The PDF is quite accessible. 4 years later, folks, what we're seeing now is a new breed of BLM. They're just simply wearing headscarves. Again, Nazis don't change their colors, and Nazis don't change their ways. They just change what continent they're on. But again, getting back to Sadat, as you can see there, of course, folks, what we are seeing is what I would argue is the new logo for Columbia University. You can see the hammer and sickle there. You can see the anti-Semitic language there. And you can see the once proud lion of Columbia University, its mascot, with a Hamas headband. Basically, folks, Columbia University has just become a breeding ground for Hamas with a really bad football team. That's all Columbia University has become. Now, to say nothing of the fact that Columbia University over the years has continued to breed some insufferable people in activism and journalism. I mean, Matt Friedman, the editor of the New Jersey Playbook with Political New Jersey, again, reminds me of one of those insufferable Columbia University grads. And folks, let's be honest about Columbia University. Okay, anyone that knows Ivy Leaguers and knows that people that apply to Ivy League schools, well, you get into Columbia when you can't get into the more prominent schools like Harvard and Princeton and Yale and Dartmouth. or Penn or Cornell, right? Those are the schools that you aspire to go to in the Ivy League. But when all else fails and you get admitted to those schools, well, hey, Ivy League has a safety school just like every conference does, and that's Columbia University, okay? And folks, think about students or parents having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for their children's education, or even if you're self-funding your education, to be going to a hotbed of anti-Semitism like Columbia University, like NYU, like Barnard, the New School, even Rutgers now, folks. And it saddens me as a diehard alumnus who went through his undergraduate degrees at New Brunswick and his graduate degrees in Newark. It's a shame about what's happening to our institutions of higher learning all across this country. As you can see there, folks, all the way out west on the campus of UCLA and USC, Jewish students being harassed on campus, being denied access to even walk into campus buildings. This is what Sadaf Jaffer endorses, okay? So much so, of course, that as you can see there, Sadaf likes to dish it out, but she doesn't like to take it. As you can see there, yet another insufferable feminist and liberal blocking me on Twitter and, of course, on other social media platforms. No surprise there. She's more interested in bloviating than actually having a discourse. But that's what Sadaf Jaffer is. Again, a woman who wants to preach victimhood at all times. Again, folks, she was the assemblywoman in the 16th Legislative District here in New Jersey. And she only served one term, thankfully. But the damage was done already. Her ultra-left-wing, ultra-radical progressive views infiltrated their ways into the State House in Trenton, New Jersey. And don't be fooled by this nonsense that, oh, she chose not to run again because of the blatant racism and misogyny and sexism against a Muslim woman of color. No, folks. What the Democrat leadership did in those counties near the 16th Legislative District is pretty much told her, yeah, we don't want you back there in that seat. We're going to move on with someone else. So she decided not to run again. Instead of running in the primary, she decided not to run again. But of course, like any good liberal, why not just blame your shortcomings on, hey, blankism and blankophobia? Because that's all people like Sadaf Jaffer have to live on. Hey, when all else fails, let's go for the low-hanging fruit. The reason they don't want me is because I'm a woman. The reason they don't want me is because I'm a person of color. The reason they don't want me is because I'm a Muslim. No, sweetheart. The reason you weren't wanted in the Democrat Party in the 16th Legislative District is you served your purpose. And unfortunately, you weren't really afforded the luxury of becoming a career politician. Thankfully, you only served one term. But while you were in Trenton, folks, let's be honest, she was more than happy to coddle illegals, to vote on inflating the budget in Trenton and the budget here in New Jersey getting fatter than the latest Victoria's Secret models modeling lingerie. Okay? But that's who Sadaf Jaffer became. Okay? And to make matters worse, folks, she's now someone that's been embraced by Jersey City Mayor and 2025 gubernatorial hopeful for the Democrat Party, Steve Fulop. Now, full disclosure, I love Steve. I think Steve's a great person. We don't agree on anything politically. And I look forward to interviewing him later this summer on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV. But what concerns me about the mayor is going on to say that she will be joining the Fulop team as part of the campaign policy team. Folks, what possible policy, Mayor, could Sadaf advise you on? How to coddle illegals more? We're already a sanctuary state. We're already coddling illegals enough as it is. Okay? We already engage in reckless spending. What exactly is Sadaf going to advise you on, Mayor? Steve, I have lots of love for you, and I respect you. And I give you a lot of credit for running so far what's been a pretty respectable campaign. You've raised money. You've been attacking issues like mass transit, infrastructure, obviously what's going on in this sort of vindictive behavior from Governor Murphy as a result of taking back your endorsement of his wife during the U.S. Senate campaign earlier this year. So I give you all the credit in the world, Steve. But what are you doing getting into political bed with someone as vile as Sadaf Jaffer? Based on your background, certainly based on your ethnicity, and certainly based on your religious affiliation, why would you ever embrace an anti-Semite like Sadaf Jaffer? Folks, don't take my word for it. I can't go on her Twitter or Instagram or Facebook anymore, but look up her social media posts. This is a woman who's happy to enable all these jihadists now destroying property on college campuses. She can join the long list of insufferable women in New Jersey politics and media and activism, once again, including Jay Lassiter, Anjali Malhotra, Corinne Frankfurt, Maria Rodriguez-Gregg, Julie Larea Borst, Sue Altman, Hetty Rosenstein, and all these other insufferable women. I can call them something worse, but folks, this is a family program. And trust me, they deserve it. This is the type of vile woman that's looking to get involved in statewide politics again. This is the type of vile anti-Semite that's looking to advise Stephen Fulop. Stephen, do me a favor, bro. Do better. Okay? I haven't looked at your entire campaign policy team, but one person that shouldn't be on there is Sadaf Jaffer. Again, based on your background, based on your religious affiliation, Stephen, you could do better than a vile, disgusting anti-Semite like Sadaf Jaffer. If she was a woman that was denouncing all these protests by all these pro-Palestinian radicals on college campuses, or blocking entrances to the Brooklyn Bridge, or blocking entrances to airports, or, I don't know, protesting in front of city halls like in Hoboken, hey, if she was denouncing those behaviors, wonderful. I'd give Sadaf the benefit of the doubt, but she's not. What she's doing is she continues to double down on radical Islamic behavior. And I find it funny for someone like her and all these other radicals, all these other women, and all these college campuses here, hey, I won't pay your plane ticket, but I'll gladly drive you to the airport. And why don't you fly out to one of those hellholes in the Middle East? And why don't you go live in one of those areas? Folks, half of these clowns on these college campuses couldn't pick Gaza on a map if you asked them to. Okay? They wouldn't know what to do with themselves if they had to actually live under real Sharia law in some of these Islamic societies. But these are the people lecturing you about what's evil and what's not. Folks, again, college campuses have become a breeding ground. This indoctrination of hating the United States, embracing radical Islam. Folks, what good's going to come out of that? You know what's going to come out of that? I can tell you what's going to come out of that, Sadaf. I've lived here all my life. And 23 years ago, on an early Tuesday morning in September, my view of the skyline very, very different when I woke up that morning than it is today. And it's not Christians or Jews or Buddhists who decide to alter the skyline and kill thousands of Americans. It's radical Islam. And that's what's being taught and embraced on these college campuses. You need to denounce it. If you're such a true Muslim, then you need to denounce this. But folks, it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Sadaf Jaffer will do no such thing. Because just like Sue Altman, just like Jay Lassiter, just like Maria Rodriguez-Gregg, just like Hetty Rosenstein, just like Loretta Weinberg, all these insufferable women, and men too, folks, let's not get it twisted. Hey, you should be denouncing this stuff that's going on college campuses. If college campuses are really the hotbed for learning and for discussions and dialogue, we're not seeing that. All we're seeing is hell, fire, and brimstone. And guess what, folks? When you start embracing that, we all know what comes next. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. And now some local stories for your consideration. And once again, thank you to the editor-in-chief of the Hudson County View, along with a member of the Pinnacle and fellow Rutgers alumnus, John R. Hines, for his reporting on this story. And speaking of left-wing radicals, Patricia Campos Medina, Larry Ham, and maybe not so much Andy Kim, were all in attendance in Jersey City for a U.S. Senate forum. Now, the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity hosted a Senate forum in Jersey City with Labor leader Patricia Campos Medina, U.S. Representative Andy Kim in the 3rd Congressional District, and Civil Rights leader Larry Ham. Now, artist and writer Amy Wilson, who's developed quite a following on Twitter, by the way, and certainly is worth reading about every so often, along with activist Chris Gadsden, former council candidate and current principal of Lincoln High School on the south side of Jersey City, moderated the forum at St. John's Baptist Church. Wilson asked Ham, the People's Organization for Progress POP chairman, for an introduction, of course, along with the other candidates. Of course, Campos Medina explained her background fighting for labor unions and women as a labor union leader and as part of Cornell University, while Kim explained his background in security and national security. Well, folks, again, I'm not a fan of Andy Kim's politics. I mean, he's certainly a decent guy. I mean, he certainly has gone to Washington and gone to work for his district. Again, that's who the district voted for. What can I say? But folks, when we start looking at radicals like Patricia Campos Medina and Larry Hamm, how's that any different than other left-wing radicals that, again, have not denounced what's going on college campuses, right? Patricia Campos Medina and Larry Hamm are, let's be honest here, folks, apologists for pro-Palestinian protesters and all these jihadists on college campuses. Look at their social media. I can't because I know Patricia has blocked me, and I'm not really sure if I ever even look at Larry's social media quite frequently. But you know for a fact they've never denounced anything going on these college campuses, whether it's our alma mater, Rutgers University, or once again across the river at Columbia, NYU, Barnard, or the New School. Again, these are left-wing radicals that have no business whatsoever anywhere near the U.S. Senate. Again, folks, Larry Hamm is a guy who's basically become a perpetual campaigner. Anytime any sort of political office is up for grabs, yeah, he'll just run. Again, it sort of reminds me of Hersh Singh, another useless perpetual campaigner. But again, this is a guy that said that if he's elected to the U.S. Senate, that he would be petitioning the president for a reparations committee or a commission to explore reparations. Folks, I mean, again, Larry Hamm lives in all this victimhood and virtue signaling. Folks, there's no need for a reparations committee. With everything going wrong in this country, is this what we really have to focus on, Larry? You should know better, bro. Come on. And Patricia Campos Medina, folks, this is a woman, I mean, again, not to, sort of ridicule her broken English, but this is a woman who you can tell when she's talking doesn't have the first clue about policy. And the ironic thing is this is a woman, again, as a fellow PhD, that swears up and down that she's so policy-driven. Folks, look at her social media. Look at the way she articulates herself in interviews. The woman wouldn't know the difference between Ramapo College and the Electoral College. But somehow, these are the best and brightest of the Democrat Party running to succeed Bob Menendez in the U.S. Senate. We'll find out on June 4th, folks, and it's pretty likely, if not almost certain, that Andy Kim will win that primary with relative ease. But, folks, it'll be alarming to see if Patty Campos Medina and Larry Hamm get any votes altogether. These are left-wing radicals, folks, and they don't have any business being near any elected office, much less any office altogether. And some happier news now, and a special thank you to Ron Zentlinger, the editor of the Jersey Journal, for his heartwarming reporting on this story. Now, World War II kept Helena Antonina Dejawski in the United States. It also taught her the value of life and helped inspire her to a decades-long career in nursing and providing comfort for others. Dejawski turned 100 last week, and family, staff, and residents at the Peace Care St. Anne's Nursing Home in Jersey City, where she lives, well, they joined her to help celebrate the milestone of 100 years. Born on April 24, 1924 to Polish immigrants, Dejawski had plans with her family to return to Poland. But World War II broke out, and her brothers joined the U.S. military. During the war, she took care of wounded veterans who had returned home and fell in love with nursing. Dejawski went on to work at Christ Hospital, North Hudson Hospital, the Palisades Medical Center, after the name change, and moved from Weehawken to North Bergen and the former St. Mary Hospital in Hoboken, which is now the Hoboken University Medical Center. She also worked at nursing homes such as St. Joseph's, the Lutheran Home, the Palisades Nursing Home, and Peace Care in St. Anne's. Folks, what can you say about such a dedicated public servant like this woman? When you look at Helena Antonina Dejawski, again, a woman with a heart of gold, and a woman who got to work during one of the more tumultuous times in American history, nursing our brave men and women coming back home from defeating the Nazis and Imperial Japan collectively. I gotta tell you, folks, you look at someone like Helena, it's one hell of a woman. Happy birthday to you, Helena. Happy 100 years, and maybe it's not physically possible. You never know with breakthroughs in modern medicine, but you know what? Here's to another 100 more, celebrating your beautiful and really admirable life. Once again, folks, happy birthday to Helena Antonina Dejawski of Jersey City, celebrating 100 years last week. Lastly, let me show some love to fellow journalists. And once again, congratulations to the staff at the Jersey Journal. And for the second time in 3 years, they've won the top prize in the New Jersey Press Association's annual competition for daily newspapers. Now, the Journal received the award for general excellence in journalism by a newspaper with daily circulation under 15,000. The Star Ledger was also recognized, I don't know how, for general excellence in a daily publication with circulations above 15,000. Folks, if they're at 15,001, that's a miracle. I don't know anybody that reads the Star Ledger via NJ.com. It's become such a garbage newspaper, especially the editorial board led by Tommy Boy, Tom Moran. But both the Journal and the Star Ledger are affiliated with NJ.com, the state's largest local news website. And content for the Star Ledger is produced by NJ Advanced Media, which, like the Journal and NJ.com, is owned by Advanced Publications. The awards were presented during the NJPA's annual awards dinner at the Forest Gate Country Club. 5 Journal reporters and contributors received 11 first-place awards in news, feature, sports, and photography. They and other staff members and contributors also picked up 9 second-place and 7 third-place honors. Journal reporter Joshua Rosario received the most prestigious individual prize, the Lloyd P. Burns Memorial Award for Public Service. He was recognized for articles that disclosed mismanagement and excessive spending in Jersey City government and in Jersey City public schools. Rosario also won first place in enterprise reporting for his relentless coverage of New Jersey City University's fiscal challenges, as well as second place for overall news writing and third place for writing about government. Rena Rose Sabayan, the Journal's photo editor, won 10 prizes for photography, including the Best of Show Award for a portrait of a bar owner closing up after 30 years in business. She also won first place for general news picture stories, spot news, coverage of a protest, and portraits, 3 second-place awards for Best Portfolio, general news picture stories, and general news, and third-place honors for features and general news. Reporter Terry West also scored a hat-trick of blue ribbons, winning first place for news writing, first place for business writing, and first place for writing about government. Folks, I got to tell you, and while a lot of people have looked down on the Jersey Journal in recent years, I am not one of those people. Congratulations to Ron Zentlinger and the amazing staff at the Jersey Journal for their awards this year, again, courtesy of the New Jersey Press Association. And while, again, the readership isn't what it once was for many, many years, the Jersey Journal continues to deliver exceptional news, breakthrough reporting, and quite frankly, folks, very informative writing by all of their journalists and all of their reporters. So again, congratulations to the Jersey Journal and your awards in this year's New Jersey Press Association annual dinner. And that's our show for this week. To check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the Hudson Media Group, check out their YouTube page. Again, folks, all the great content is available there. Of course, they include episodes of Hudson County View Live, hosted by John Hines, Stick at Night with Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and of course, all the great programming brought to you by the Township of North Bergen, and of course, all the great talent that works here as well. I can't thank enough, once again, folks, as we celebrate 5 years on the air here with Hudson Media Group. I'm so grateful to its CEO and executive producer, Patrick O'Melia, for his belief in my abilities. I've loved our rapport, and I've certainly just been in awe of his work ethic, and quite frankly, the respect that I've been able to develop with him has been incredible. So I'm thankful to him and all the wonderful staff here, folks, that work at the Hudson Media Group. Again, it might look easy, but it's not when it comes to recording, broadcasting, and editing. I'm truly blessed with the incredible staff here at the Hudson Media Group. So once again, here's to 5 more years and many more with the Hudson Media Group. Folks, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always talking politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Top 50 Latino as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine for 3 consecutive years, along with the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, and certainly I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media because my level of honesty, ladies and gentlemen, is truly necessary now more than ever in this era of blatant journalistic deception. And of course, the most handsome face that runs the place. It's me, Fernando Uribe. Folks, enjoy the rest of April. Again, it's in just a few days. It's gonna be May. So hopefully you get that little pop culture reference there. Folks, enjoy yourselves. Again, take care of yourselves. Please party responsibly. And we'll see you next time here with the Hudson Media Group, the latest edition of Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by.